Hello everyone. This is Sabine Minsky over at FromHeartToSoul.com, live from Dublin, where I just arrived this morning to spend a week with my family. And today, what I wanted to share with you briefly is an image that came to me to simplify the understanding of our different dimensions. Our soul has several dimensions. The basic one that we're all connected to is our third dimension. It is our physicality, but sometimes it can be hard to wrap our brain around the different layers that exist in us and how they intermingle and function and how we can best use them. So I wanted to give you a little image and breakdown of that. And the image that we're going to use for that is a water filter. And no, I am not making a plug for this. I don't own one. I don't have any connection with the company, but it really spoke to me in the sense that if you look at the upper part of it, you can imagine that this is source, this is the universe, and it is going to trickle down its source energy in the form of water here into your soul. Your soul is made up of all that you see here. The water can be considered our upper dimensions, the ones that are more etheric, more difficult to imagine because it's basically a vibration, and through that vibration from which we first start off as in the 10th dimension, we are going to have a structure that is going to implement itself in that vibration, and that structure is going to become more and more dense as we go down in our layers. And here on Earth, our lowest layer is the third dimension, our physical body. So what happens here is that you have some filters. The carbon one is the one that I like to think of as the fifth dimension, which is our Akashic record. That is our soul story, our soul makeup. It is the dimension in which all information is held. That's why when we start being seekers to understand spirituality, we're very much in the fifth dimension vibration. And the Akashic record is what I enter when I do a soul realignment to access the information about your soul makeup from the upper dimensions, but also all the choices that you've made in the past, all the choices that are open to you right now, and all the choices that are open to you for the future. So it's kind of a fun area to go to, the fifth dimension area of information. Then you would have these little pebbles, etc., which would be the fourth dimension, which is our mental state. Quite useful in our, in our human experience, although a lot of us fight it and try to get rid of our mental not our mental capacities, but we try to go beyond the mental. But it is actually very useful if we learn to connect with it and rein it in, basically. And here you have some big pebbles at the bottom, which I like to think of as our emotional state, which is not a dimension. It is the pathway between our mental state and our body. It is at the intersection between the two. And as we all know, our emotional state can sometimes go quite awry, and it can be tricky to learn how to not get attached to what is going on in our body and always know that emotions are in motion all the time, and that all of our states of emotion will pass, and that we can learn to use them to our advantage, actually, to feel more about life and to be directed also in our path. And the third dimension, which is our body, would be the actual casing, and most importantly, the spout. Think of it this way. All the information, all the source energy trickles down to us, and it gets filtered through our very own being to harmonize it and align it to who we are, to make it our own. Source energy becomes our own, and then we try and bring it out in the world in a more or less aligned way. And what's very important about the image of the spout is that, and of the casing, is that the more aligned we are to our upper dimensions, to our soul vibration, to our soul essence, the more that water is going to come out freely, a free flow of abundance, of knowing that we feel on course inside because things just align in a way that really fulfills us. And what I wanted to point out is the importance of our 3D actions, because what really, creates our circumstances is not only what's encased here, that's just a possibility, it is a resource for us, but if we don't use it, then we just have a trickle that might come out, and that means that only a little part of our life feels satisfying. And if we continue pushing on that spout in the same exact way that we have always done, or in other terms, if we continue taking the same actions, making the same decisions, continuing with our life in the same way, our abundance level cannot change. It just cannot. You can play around in your emotional body, you can play around in your fourth dimension, your mental body, you can even, start playing around here, but nothing's going to change. And that's what I do. I don't play around. I ask for clearings at the fifth dimensional levels that have an impact on all other dimensions. But if you do not change the way that you push on the spout, if you do not learn to use it in different ways, you will still get the same trickle out. Hence the importance of action and new action in 3D. I hope this little image gives you a sense of our makeup as souls and our different dimensions and how they intermingle. I could go on about this image. It really speaks to me, and I hope it speaks to you too. If you're curious to know more about your very own soul lessons or your Akashic records and what is held in them, then don't hesitate to drop me a line, leave me a message, or connect with me at fromhearttosoul.com. Have a great day. I wish I knew how to say have a great day in Gaelic. Not yet. By the end of the week, I will. Take care.